Hi there, my name is Sarah Brophy. I'm a bio student at Fort Lewis, and I'm doing my senior research on soil ecology in the aftermath of the 416 fire. My study sites are up in the Hermosa Creek drainage, which is just north of Durango, and I am working with two really awesome forest ecologists, Dr. Julie Korb and Dr. Mike Remke. I'll be doing my field work this summer, and we will be looking at the ecological effects of the 416 fire, which burned in the summer of 2018. The fire was started by a spark from the Durango-Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad, and it burned nearly 58,000 acres of the San Juan National Forest. Because it happened so recently, a lot of the effects of this fire are still unknown, and it presents a really cool opportunity to be able to study the immediate aftermath of a fire, to understand the succession of the forest, and to better understand what's already naturally occurring and what we can do to help our forest recover and be more resilient for future disturbances like this. So the San Juan National Forest, which is, again, just outside of Durango, Colorado, it's our backyard, it's our playground. It's largely characterized by warm, dry mixed conifer forest, and specifically ponderosa pine forests. So the study areas that I'm looking at have historically been ponderosa pine forests and hopefully will regenerate as such. Ponderosa pine forest is historically characterized by an overstory of ponderosa pine with a really diverse understory. This might include Douglas fir, quaking aspen, and historically, this was a pretty spread out forest. It was maintained by a low to moderate severity fire regime, so fires would come in periodically. They would burn all the younger trees and just maintain the competition between regenerating trees and maintain the success of bigger trees. However, since modern grazing, settlement, and in the 1880s our modern forest management practices, which are put it out, 10 a.m. rule, this has caused a change in the structure and composition of the ponderosa pine forests and most of the forests in the western United States. And generally, this change has just been denser forests. The species in the understory have changed. You're going to see more white fir, gamble oak, etc. And there's been a buildup of a lot of fuel accumulation because we haven't had these fires coming through to wipe it out and recycle all of this stuff back into the forest. So a lot of these natural processes have been affected by anthropogenic causes, and we are just starting to really understand the effects of this because it's started these feedback loops. And as we saw in the summer of 2018, when these huge accumulations of fuel and dense forests do ultimately catch on fire beyond control of humans, it can have some really devastating effects. So what I'm interested in specifically is what are the effects of this fire on the soil communities within the Hermosa Creek drainage. And I want to know about soil because when you understand what's going on with the microbial community within the soil, what's going on with the nutrients existing in the soil, what's going on with the way the soil infiltrates water, how stable the soil is, whether or not it's going to slide. This can tell you so much about, what's going to grow, what food there will be for animals, what food there will be for, mushroom hunting humans, how stable our trail systems will be, how stable our, burned slopes are. Are the houses under these slopes in danger? There's so many things that you can figure out, just about the overall health of the forest and the safety of the community through understanding what's going on in the soils. So what I will be doing specifically will be this summer, I'm going to go out into the drainage. We have a variety of plots that are on all different sorts of topographies at different elevations, and the main difference between all of these plots is that these plots burned at different severities and intensities. So each plot burned at a different heat, and it consumed differing amounts of organic matter in trees. It burned differing amounts of trees. So we have very severe plots that were burned, 80 to 100%. We have, very mild, low severity plots where, maybe only 10% of the vegetation was burned. And then we also have our plots where nothing was burned, so we can compare. And I'm going to be going to these plots and taking soil samples to figure out what are the carbon levels, what are the nitrogen levels, what are the phosphorus levels, because these are really important in photosynthesis and carbon storage, nutrient cycling, etc. Lots of important stuff for plant growth. And the main thing I'll be doing is taking soil samples and looking at the microbes within the soil, specifically a microbe called mycorrhizae, and that's actually a fungus. It's a mutualistic relationship between plant and fungus, localized in a root-like structure, in which energy moves primarily from plant to fungus, and inorganic resources move from fungus to plant. So it's this bridge between plants and soil, and a lot of past research, and some done by my advisor, Dr. Korb, has shown that the more mycorrhizae existing within a soil, the more resilient a community can be, because this fungus really helps plant growth. It helps these plants get these nutrients if they're there in the first place. And it's super important. So I'll be looking at two different kinds of mycorrhizae. One is endomycorrhizae, which is inside roots. It's also known as arbuscular or AM mycorrhizae. And that's the mycorrhizae that a lot of herbaceous plants, so a lot of the understory plants, depend on. And then I will be looking at ectomycorrhizae, which is outside the roots. And that is the Pinacea family, which Douglas fir and ponderosa pine both belong to. Is super important for tree growth, for tree regeneration, and for, a healthy forest. So I'm really excited to try to grow plants in these soils and see what's going on with the fungus, what's going on with our soil communities, and what does that mean for our community. Thanks for listening. Bye.